Wait a second. Check out this incredible stat. Almost 40% of adults in the US sport at least one tattoo. Can you believe it? Almost half of all adults are sporting some kind of body art. Things weren't always like this. Tattoos were once seen as something only rebels, outcasts, and criminals would get. So, what's the deal now? They're pretty cool. They look really stylish. They're pretty popular. It seems like just about everyone you know has one, or maybe even two. Tattoos have really evolved, haven't they? From everyday folks to big names like Justin Bieber and Rihanna, they're more than just personal expression. They've turned into cultural icons. So, how did tattoos go from being seen as rebellious and taboo to becoming a big part of mainstream culture? Get ready, because we're diving into the exciting journey from taboo to trendy. Let's take a moment to go back in time. Tattoos didn't just pop up out of nowhere in the 21st century. They have actually been a part of human culture for thousands of years. They were really important to ancient civilizations, serving spiritual and cultural purposes. These tattoos weren't just for show, they really meant something. Back in ancient Egypt, people got tattoos for protection and magical reasons. Pharaohs and other significant figures used to get them as a way to seek spiritual protection for the afterlife. For example, they've discovered mummified Egyptian women with tattoos that represented fertility, protection, and health. These weren't just ink designs, people thought of them as spiritual shields. One well-known example is Amunet, a priestess of the goddess Hathor. Her mummified body was discovered with tattoos of sacred symbols on her stomach and thighs. Next, let's head over to the Polynesian Islands. These islands are where some of the most detailed and significant tattoos in the world originated. Tattoos in Polynesian culture really played a big role in shaping identity and connecting with family. They weren't just for show, they shared a story about the person's rank, their tribal history, and their personal achievements. So you didn't just stroll into a tattoo shop and pick a design from the wall. Tattoos are definitely a lifelong commitment and a meaningful way to honor your ancestors. In Samoa, tattooing, known as tatau, remains a sacred tradition. Many people choose to get tattoos as a way to celebrate their cultural roots and show their personal ties to family history. These tattoos weren't just casual fashion choices, they were part of a ritual, a sign of status, and a way to connect with the divine. All right, let's change things up a bit. As tattoos made their way to different parts of the world, their meanings began to shift. Back in the early 20th century, tattoos had this vibe where they were linked to the underworld, sailors, and even criminals. Back then, tattoos were viewed as a sign of rebellion, something that only outsiders and nonconformists would get. Sailors were actually among the first folks to bring tattoos back to the Western world. Sailors from Britain, after their adventures in the South Pacific during the 1700s, came back with the tattoo tradition in tow. These tattoos weren't really about family heritage or spirituality, though. They were all about keeping safe, especially from the risks that come with life on the water. Some sailors decided to get tattoos of anchors, thinking it might help them find their way home safely. Some people get swallow tattoos to represent the idea that if they were to die at sea, their soul would find its way back home. Here's the interesting part. In the Western world, tattoos started to be associated with lower-class, rebellious, and sometimes even criminal subcultures. Back in the 1920s, getting a tattoo usually meant you were part of a specific crowd, like sailors, gang members, or bikers. They were a way to push back against what society expects. Tattoos were more than just a way to express oneself. They stood for a spirit of nonconformity. Actually, for quite a while, tattoos were mostly viewed as something that the working class sported. Back in the day, when a king's advisors or people of high status got tattoos, it was usually looked at as something shameful. Hey, have you ever wondered what the upper classes thought about tattoos? So, people usually saw them as kind of immoral or not very classy. In this era, the tattooed man or woman is someone who stands out a bit from the crowd. They were the ones on the outside looking in. So, let's jump ahead to the 1960s and 1970s, when the counterculture movement really began to see tattoos as a way to express themselves. Have you ever considered how rock and roll took off alongside the hippie movement? Tattoos started to be seen as a way to express rebellion. but they also represent a unique sense of individuality. Musicians like Janis Joplin and Jimi Hendrix started getting tattoos, and that really changed how people viewed them. It wasn't just about pushing back against the man anymore. It was about expressing yourself and letting the world see how unique you really are. This time really shifted the perspective on tattoos, making them more about personal identity instead of just being linked to criminality. In the 1980s and 1990s, tattoos started to shed their negative image, thanks in part to celebrities like David Beckham, Angelina Jolie, and Johnny Depp, who helped kick off the tattoo trend we see everywhere now. Tattoos have evolved beyond just being for rock stars and sailors. Now, they're a way for people to express themselves and showcase their personal style and artistry. These days, you can find tattoos just about everywhere. These days, everyone from tech CEOs to fashion icons is showing off their tattoos like it's the coolest thing ever. Honestly, it's not really seen as rebellious these days, it's just a part of your identity. Tattoos are a form of art. These days, it's pretty normal to spot folks with tattoos in corporate offices, among Instagram influencers, and even strutting their stuff on high fashion runways. Did you know the tattoo industry has ballooned into a $50 billion global market? It's amazing to see shops springing up all over the place. Have you heard something even wilder? Some of the biggest names out there, like Google, Apple, and Nike, are totally on board with having tattooed employees. Tattooed folks aren't outcasts. They're at the forefront of global brands, shaping cultural trends and creating empires. Check this out. Mark Zuckerberg, the guy behind Facebook, might not sport a visible tattoo, at least none that we know about, but quite a few of his top executives and engineers definitely do. So, Sheryl Sandberg, who's the head of marketing at Facebook, actually has this little tattoo she got while visiting India. It's a symbol of her personal growth. Nike, famous for its innovative vibe, also has a notable number of tattooed employees on its team. Did you know that Nike's iconic swoosh logo was created by Carolyn Davidson? Fun fact, she has a few tattoos of her own. Hey, have you noticed what kinds of tattoos people are getting these days? Tattoos have really evolved from those classic sailor designs we used to see. These days, folks are exploring everything from simple line art to incredibly lifelike portraits. Watercolor tattoos are totally one of the biggest trends at the moment. These tattoos feature bright, flowing colors that give off a painted vibe, almost like wearing a piece of modern art right on your skin. These tattoos really push the limits of what we think about tattooing, bringing a fresh perspective to the concept of tattoos as art. Fine line tattoos are really gaining popularity lately. They emphasize delicate, thin lines to craft some pretty intricate designs. They give off a sleek, sophisticated vibe and are really popular with millennials. Geometric tattoos are really becoming a trend these days. These tattoos feature sharp lines, symmetry, and abstract shapes, mixing math and art in really creative ways. But wait, there's more. Tattoos are getting more interactive and creative than they've ever been. It's pretty cool how UV tattoos that glow under blacklight, augmented reality tattoos, and even tattoos that change color with your mood are popping up more often these days, all thanks to some neat tech advancements. Some companies are actually developing smart tattoos that can monitor health metrics, such as blood pressure and heart rate. It's really interesting how this is merging body art with technology. The tattoo industry is really growing and changing to keep up with the times. Tattoos are really becoming a part of everyday life, right? It feels like soon they'll be as common as slipping on a pair of jeans. Tattoos have definitely moved past their rebellious days and are now a big part of modern culture. So, what do you think the future has in store for us? How about temporary tattoos? They let folks try out different designs without committing to something permanent. Hey, have you heard about the cool stuff happening in biotechnology? Imagine getting a tattoo that changes color based on your body temperature or even how you're feeling. Pretty wild, right? Picture this, a tattoo that shifts based on how you're feeling. It's like having your emotions right there on your skin in a really cool way. The tattoo industry is really taking off these days. Actually, 2021 was a standout year with a ton of people getting tattoos during the pandemic like never before. Tattoos are a cool way for folks to show who they are and bond with others, even while hanging out at home. With technology getting better all the time, the future of tattoos is looking really exciting. We can look forward to more ways to personalize them, new innovations, and a greater acceptance of tattoos in our daily lives. Tattoos have really come a long way from ancient rituals to becoming a big part of mainstream culture. What used to be seen as a sign of rebellion has now become one of the most popular, artistic, and culturally significant ways to express yourself. Tattoos go beyond just being ink on skin. They really capture the heartbeat of society. They show how we grow, express who we are, and how we're making an impact in the world. So there you have it, everyone. That's the fascinating journey of tattoos, starting out as symbols of rebellion and evolving into a form of mainstream art that shares personal stories and even shapes cultures. It's wild to consider how something as straightforward as a tattoo can hold so much history and meaning. What used to be the domain of sailors and outlaws is now something that nearly half of us can relate to. Tattoos have really made their mark in modern society, evolving from a sign of defiance to a unique way for people to express themselves. But here's the thing, are we really just scratching the surface? As tattoos keep changing, it's exciting to think about what's next. Could we see tattoos that shift colors with our moods, or designs that connect with tech? Picture a world where your tattoo feels just as vibrant and alive as you do. It's only a matter of time until tattoos reach new levels of creativity. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you have any tattoos? So, are you considering getting one? We'd love to hear what you think about this tattoo journey. Are you totally into the idea of getting inked? Or are you still trying to decide? What's your ideal tattoo? And what significance would it hold for you? If this video sparked your creativity, make sure to like, subscribe, and tap that bell so you can keep up with all the exciting cultural adventures we have coming your way. You really won't want to miss what's coming up next. Here's a fun fact to ponder. The oldest known tattooed person was a mummy named Ötzi, the Iceman, who lived about 5,300 years ago. Pretty interesting, right? You got it. Tattoos have been around for thousands of years, and they're still super popular today. See you next time. Keep those tattoos coming, embrace your uniqueness, and don't forget to push back against those societal norms. Catch you later.